In the previous class, we discussed about torsional spring and solved problem on that. Now we'll see a disc spring. Okay. Where you are going to use this disc spring is where the large load is there. There we can go ahead with this disc spring. Whereas whatever the deflection which you see in the disc spring is less. Means where small deflection is required and large load is there you can use the disc spring. And the common application where we will be using this disc spring is the safety valve, whether the safety valve in the boilers or other applications. Usually it is the safety valves will be used in the hydraulic systems. How the spring looks like, if you see the spring, it is in the form of a dished cone whose thickness is T and height H, and this d naught is nothing but mean diameter, outer mean diameter, and di is the inner mean diameter of the disc spring. And when the load is applied on the spring, okay, the spring will flatten. When the load applied on the specimen, the spring will flatten, thereby providing the spring action. As you apply the load, there will be a deflection. How the deflection will be there? This whatever the member is there, it will try to tend to flatten. As a result of that, it will give the spring action on this. And how this construction goes, the disc springs are stacked up one on the top. Okay, on this one more is placed, and on the top of this is how the construction of this disc spring is done. Okay. This is the figure which you are seeing is the disc spring. Now we'll see how to construct the disc spring or designing of the disc spring. What are the things you should know? Okay, these equations are there in the data and book, page number 183, Balvi Reddy. For example, when the load is applied on the spring, okay, the disc spring will try to flatten or it will deflect. Okay, you need to calculate how much is the safe load. Okay, to calculate that safe load, you can use this formula 11.33a where F is the applied load and E is the Young's modulus of that spring material, and Y is the deflection, and H is nothing but it is the thickness of the spring. Here you can see that this H is nothing but it is the thickness of the spring, and this T is nothing but thickness of the disc. Whatever the disc which is used, this T is nothing but the thickness of the disc. And this M is nothing but the constant which you are going to get it from figure 11.13 or by using the formula, that is equation 11.33d. They will be giving the diameter, outer mean diameter and inner mean diameter of the disc. Okay, both these values will be given. From that you can calculate the M constant. This is one method by using 11.33d or by using the figure 11.13. Similarly, whatever the C1 and C2 are there, which you will be using it in 11.33b and C. Okay. After that, D naught, as you know, D naught and Di are nothing but outer and inner diameter of the disc, and this T is nothing but the thickness of the disc and h is the thickness of the spring. And when the load acts on a spring, okay, stress will be induced in the dish spring. Okay, you need to calculate the stress induced in the spring, that is inner edge of the disc spring as well as the outer edge of the disc spring. By using equation 11.33b, we are going to find out the maximum stress, okay, which will be acting on the inner edge of the disc spring. Okay, and while uh, calculating the maximum stress, okay, you will be knowing the deflection. E will be given, Poisson's ratio, mu is nothing but the Poisson's ratio, y is the axial deflection, and this m either by using 11.33d or by using figure 11.13 you can calculate the m constant. Similarly, you can see that here C1 and C2 is there. Okay, this C1 and C2 value, this is a constant which you can get it from equation 11.33e and 11.33f. Either you can use this formula or you can use this figure. Yes, here you can see that whatever the m constant is there, or a constant C1 and C2, okay, you're going to get it from this figure 11.13. These are nothing but the disk constant, whatever the disk spring which you are designing. Okay, this m, C1, C2 are nothing but the disk constants that is going to obtained by the ratio of d naught by di. Okay, this d naught and di are nothing but the outer diameter of the disk, and di is inner diameter of the disk. In this, the outer diameter and inner diameter of disk will be given. From that, you need to find out the ratio. Assume that if I get the ratio as 2.5, okay, on the right side you will get the constant C1 and C2. On the left side you will get the constant m. And whatever this line you are seeing, this is to calculate the value of constant C1, you need to refer this line. And to calculate the C2 constant, you have to refer this C2 line, okay, inclined line. Whereas whatever the curve which you are seeing, that is used to calculate the m constant. Okay, assume that the ratio I got it as a 2.5. Okay, you just move vertical here, it coincides with the line C1, inclined line. Okay, now I need to know the value of C1. You just move here, you will get the value of C1. Yeah, it is 1.2. Next one is 1.3, 1.4. Whereas this value is nearer to 1.3. Okay, you can take it as 1.28. This is how you can find out the C1 constant. Similarly, if the ratio is 2.5, move vertically up. You can see that here it is coinciding with the C2 inclined line. Okay, you just move to the right side, you will get that value. It is not exactly on this point, it is nearer to that. Means you can take it as this is 1.4, this is 1.5, means you can take it as 1.49. That is the C2 value. Next, I need to measure m value. Move vertically up. Here you can see that whatever the m curve is there, it is coinciding at this particular point. Okay, move to the left hand side. Okay, you can see that it is in between. This is 0.7, 0.8. Whatever the value is there, it is in between that. Means you can take it as 0.75. That is the value of m. This is how you will get the C1, C2 and m constant. Substitute those equations, you will get the inner stress or inner edge stress induced and outer edge stress induced. This is how you need to solve problems on disc spring. In the previous we know the procedure. Now we'll take down a problem on this. A disc spring is made of 3 mm steel sheet with an outside diameter. He has given the disc spring is made up of 3 mm steel sheet. Means he has given the thickness of that disc spring. T is 3 mm with an outer diameter of 130 mm. Outer diameter is 130 mm. Outer diameter is denoted by D naught, and an inside diameter of 50 mm. Inside diameter is given as 50 mm. The spring is dished by 5 mm. Means they have given the H. The spring is dished by 5 mm. Can you see that? This is nothing but the spring is dished by 5 mm. They have given the H value. The maximum stress is 600 megapascal. The maximum stress which will be induced in that will be 600 megapascal. The diameter as well as TH is given in mm. Okay, megapascal is nothing but Newton per mm square. If it is in Newton per meter square, you have to convert that into Newton per mm square. Determine. First, they ask you to calculate the safe axial load carried by the spring. Means first you need to calculate how much safe load this disc spring is going to carry. After that, second, you need to calculate the deflection at this load. When you apply the load, because of that, how much deflection is observed in the disc spring. That is why you need to calculate that. After that, third, stress produced at the outer edge. Okay, as I told you, in these two types of stresses will be produced. One is produced at the inner edge, stress produced at the inner edge, and one more is stress produced at the outer edge. After that, fourth one is load for flattering the spring. Means when the load is applied, okay, when this entire spring will become, or this dish will become flat, they are asking how much load, at what load this entire disc will become flat. That you need to calculate. Okay, we'll calculate one by one. First, I'm going to calculate the deflection. To calculate the deflection, you can see this. A deflection means you have to calculate the y. Okay, in this two equations are there. Either you can use equation 11.33a or 11.33b and c. Okay, if you use equation 11.33a, in this two unknowns will be there. Why? Because they have not given the load and the other unknown is y. Means I cannot use this equation. The other left one is I can use equation 11.33b. That's why I'm using equation 11.33b. Okay, this is equation 11.33b. Note down the equation. This is the inner stress. You can see that the maximum stress at the inner edge. Inner edge stress equation I have taken. In this, some unknowns are there, like this constant, this constant C1, C2, m value that need to be calculated. And after that, in the given problem, they have given this mu and E value. Okay, and this E is 200 gigapascal. You need to convert that into Newton per mm square or megapascal. Now, as I told you, in this two approach are there. Either you can use formulas to calculate these disk constants m, c1, c2, and one more is you can use figure 11.13. The option is left to you. Either you can use figure 11.13 or you can use these formulas, but to save time, better to use the figure 11.13, where you will get all the three constants. In the problem, they are given outer diameter and the inner diameter of the disk. Outer diameter is 130, inner diameter is 50. Therefore, the ratio will get us 2.6. Once you get this ratio, then you need to open the data handbook, page number 188, figure 11.13. Page number 188, figure 11.13. Why I calculate that ratio means that you should know. Then only, if you don't know this ratio, then it's not possible to calculate the constants. Okay. What value we are getting? It is 2.6. Okay. This is 2.5 and this is 3. This will be 2.75. Means somewhere here we'll get that 2.6. You just move vertically up. Okay. Vertically up. From this, you will get the value of C1. Okay. The value of C1 from this, note down the value. Okay, from this I'm going to get the value of, actually it should be 1.3. From this it should be 1.3. That is the value of C1. Similarly, you move vertically up. Okay, moving vertically up, you see that this is the C2 line, incline line. Where it coincides, it will coincide at this point. Okay, you just move here. From this point you will get the value of C2. From this, the value of C2 I'll be getting it as 1.58. You can see that here it will be there. You just extend this. Okay, from this I am going to get the value as 1.58. After that, next you need to note down the one more constant, that is m. Okay, see the curve. This is the curve M. Where it coincides, it will coincide at this particular point. You just extend it to the left side. Okay, this is 0.6, 0.7, and it is nearer to 0.8, but it will be at this particular point. From this, I am going to note down the m value as 0.77, or you can take it as 0.78. Okay, depends upon the accuracy how you have taken. Okay, here I have taken it as 0.77, some might take it as 0.78. Plus or minus 3 to 4% variation will be there. Why? Because here we cannot measure it exactly. If it is coinciding at this particular point, you can take it as 0.5, whereas in between we are getting means here the possibility of plus or minus 5% will be there. Okay, once you get this constant, substitute these values in the above equation. The stress is given. Okay, it is 600. Substitute that 4 into E value is given, it is 200 into 10 raised to 3. Okay, substitute that, and in this case the axial deflection y is not given. Okay, keep it like that, divided by 1 minus mu. Mu is 0.3. After that, the m value, just now you have calculated that. Substitute the m value, it is 0.77. D naught value is given, it is 130 mm. After that, the C1 constant, it is 1.31. Substitute that. H, it is given in the data. H value, it is 5. Y value, we don't know. Keep it like that only. C2 value, it is 1.58. T value is given, it is 3. Substitute that. Okay. After solving that, you will get this equation. Okay. You can solve the above equation in the calci, or you can use Sridhar's formula to calculate this. Better, instead of using that Sridhar formula, it will take a lot of time. Use the calci, calculate the value. Okay, while calculating that value, here y value you will get it as 16.23 mm and y is equal to 0.79. Okay, as the load acts on the member is going to deflect. Okay, one value we are getting it as 16.23, other value is 0.79. Okay, in this case you need to see the value of h. How much is the value of h? The height of the dish. Okay, so here in the figure, here you can see that this is the h. Okay, whatever the deflection is there, it cannot be greater than the h value. It has to be less than the h value. Okay, if the h value is 6, then the deflection will be less than that. Means it cannot deflect more than this. For that reason, whatever the value y value you are going to obtain it from the equation, you see I cannot take 16.23. Why? Because whatever the deflection is there, it will be more than the value of h. It is not possible. Okay, it is not possible. That's why take y value as 0.79. Therefore I'm going to select 0.79 mm. Therefore deflection y is equal to 0.79 mm. You understood why I have taken y? Once again I will repeat, this is important. Why? Because here by solving the equation you will get two values. Y is equal to 16.23 mm and one more is y is equal to 0.79 mm. In this case, you can see that h is nothing but the thickness of the spring. Okay, here this is the thickness of the disc spring. Whatever the deflection is there, it will be less than the thickness of that spring, because when you apply that load, this will come down and it is going to flatten up. Up to what extent? It will be equal to h, but it will be not beyond h. If the load acts on this, here you can see that if the load acts on this entire thing will become flattened to the maximum load. Means h can be equal to y. Whatever the deflection is there, it can be equal to y when the spring will become flat. But whatever the y value we are getting, one is 16.23, other one is 0.79. If I take y is equal to 16.23, it is not possible. Why? Because the h value is given as 5 mm. Means it has to be less than that. Means the other value is 0.79 mm. Take this deflection y is equal to 0.79 mm. Once you get the deflection, next is to calculate the safe load. He has asked to calculate the safe load. To calculate the safe load, I'll be using this 11.33a. In this, in equation 11.33a, the load equation is there. You have to use this equation. From this only will get the safe load which the disc spring is going to carry. Okay, therefore F is equal to equation 11.33a. Already you have calculated the m constant. Y deflection you have calculated just now. Substitute that. E is given mu d naught h t. All these data are given in the statement. Y is calculated now. Substitute that all the values. After substituting that, therefore F you will get it as 4.66 kilonewton or 4666 Newton. 4.66 kilonewton or 4666.26 Newton. This is the safe load. If this much of load is applied, okay, there will be a small deflection. The small deflection is of 0.79 mm and the material can take down that load. If you apply more than this load, okay, the entire thing or the whatever the spring is there, the disc will become flat and further it will not take any load. This is the safe load. If the load applied is less than this, then you can use this disc spring with all these dimensions. if the load is greater than this, means you should not use these dimensions. Okay, you should go with the other dimensions. Why? Because the disc spring will not take that load. Now you obtain the safe load. Next, what he has asked, to calculate the stress produced at the outer edge. At the outer edge, stress you need to calculate. Two equations are there. One is 13.33 B and C. If he asks you to calculate the inner edge stresses at the inner edge of the disc spring, you have to use equation 11.33b. If you want to calculate the outer stresses at the outer edge of the disc spring, you have to use 11.33c. Therefore, from the data handbook page number 183, I'll be using 11.33c equation, 11.33c. In this, don't substitute this stress. Why? Because you are calculating the stress at the outer edge. Okay, now substitute the deflection. Okay, C1 C2 values and M value. The remaining all the terms denote E, H and T. It is given in the data handbook, in the statement. Substitute that. After substituting all the values, the stress which you are going to get at the outer edge is 8.92 megapascal. The stress induced at the outer edge is 8.92 megapascal. If they ask you to calculate the stress at the inner edge, you have to use this equation 11.33b. Use the equation. Only the difference between this is here plus is there, here minus is there for the inner edge of the disc spring. Use the above equation 11.33p to calculate the stress at the inner edge. In this case, he has asked only the outer edge. Already it is calculated, it is 8.92 megapascal. And after that, last he has asked to calculate the load for flattering the spring. As I told you, whatever the load which you are going to apply, because of that, okay, the deflection which you are going to observe on the disc spring is very small. That is small deflection you can observe, whereas in the previous whatever the springs you have seen, you will see more deflections, whereas this spring is used when the deflection is less. Now he is asking that how much load, okay, or at what load the entire disc will become flat. Whatever this disc is there, it will become flat. At what load? Means when this will become flat, when H is equal to Y. Getting my point? When this entire here the load is applied. Okay, he's asking at what load, at how much load this disc spring will become flat. You apply the load, okay, previous whatever the load you applied, that is 4.66 kilonewton, there was a deflection of 0.79, means it has deflected up to this. Assume that this is 0.79. Now he is asking at what load the spring will flatten up, means this is the spring flattening, means this entire thing will come at this particular line. This is called as spring flattening. Okay, means in this whatever the H is there, H will be equal to Y, then only the disc will be flat. When H is equal to Y, at that time the spring will become flat. No, we'll see that. Therefore, load for flattering the spring, okay, you have to use this formula where that load equation is there. Okay, use 11.33a. In this case, what you need to do means, here you have to substitute the value of H is equal to Y. Why? Because whatever the entire thickness is there, this has to be flattened. Means The condition is H is equal to Y. Means whatever the thickness of the spring is there, that has to be equal to the deflection of the spring. Then only the spring will be flattening. Okay. Therefore, the condition is Y is equal to H. Therefore, the spring become flat. Now, you have to substitute Y is equal to H in equation 11.33a. Here is the equation 11.33a. In this, substitute Y is equal to H. In this equation, substitute Y is equal to H. If I substitute Y is equal to H, here also you need to substitute Y is equal to H, means this will become 4E into H. 4E into H. If I substitute Y is equal to H, this will be H minus H. It will get cancelled. 0. 0 multiplied by the entire thing. This will become 0. This entire thing will become 0. Only the remaining is T cube. Therefore, the equation will be F is equal to 4EY. Y means you have to substitute as H. 4EH T cube divided by 1 minus mu square M into D naught. Okay. Now substitute the E value, Young's modulus E, and H value it is given, it is 5 mm. Thickness it is given 3 cube divided by 1 minus mu. It is given, it is 0.3 into M. M you are calculated from the figure 11.13, and D naught is given, diameter of the disc spring, outer diameter of the disc spring it is given. Substitute that. After substituting that, the F you will get it as 11.84. Here you can see that whatever the F which you are getting is, if you apply 11.84 kilonewton, means at that load the spring will become flat, whereas this is the safe load. If you apply this much of load, there will be a deflection of 0.79. If you apply F is equal to 11.84, means how much deflection you will get? Y will be equal to 5 mm. 5 mm of deflection you will get. Then the entire whatever the disc is there, it will be flat. This entire disc will be flat at the load of 11.84 kilonewton.